heels to taunt you, but after sunlit days, one thing stays the same: rises the moon. Days fade into a watercolor blur.
Hi guys, as you can probably tell from the title, for this month I will be sharing with you all of the plants that I have now and all of the plants that I am planning on cultivating in the near future. Make sure to check out episode 6 of our podcast to hear about the origin story of this hobby of mine. I'll leave it in the cards above. But I would like to add that I believe my sister is the true catalyst of all of this. She became a hardcore plant mom even before I came home during the pandemic. And since we're both enablers, we somehow always find a way to convince the other to buy pots as well. And it all just snowballs really quickly from there. Anyway, before we begin this plant tour, please like, subscribe, and click on the bell icon to get notifications whenever a new video goes up. We appreciate everyone that's joined us so far, and we're really looking forward to sharing more content with you all. Now, let's begin! First up, we have the plant that started it all. This is the heartleaf philodendron. I got this as a gift, and I got the pot from @phyto.terra on Instagram. They actually customized a few of my pots for me like they did with this one. I'm not entirely sure if they're still selling pots at the moment, but I did get a good amount of my pots from that shop. Now, this plant does not need that much care at all. I actually keep it inside my room because it doesn't need that much sunlight, and I only need to water it about once a week or just generally whenever I see that the soil is quite dry. Same goes with a majority of all of my other plants. Next, we have the pothos. I have a lot of varieties of this because it's just so easy to propagate and so easy to take care of. This is the specific plant we talked about in episode 6. For this plant, I have 3 varieties, but a lot of them. So I have this one, which is a golden pothos that I'm planning on training to vine downwards. I also have a neon pothos, but I'm not entirely sure. It might be a Hawaiian pothos. And lastly, I have the airdry pothos that might also be a pearl and jade pothos. Next is the spider plant. This is another plant that's really easy to propagate. It grows on a long stalk that stems from the mother plant, and you can just cut that and stick it in water like I did with this one, and then you can just wait for the roots to grow out and then stick it in soil and it's good to go. Next is the Xanadu philodendron. It is actually from the same genus of the heartleaf philodendron, but this one does seem to need more care than the other. So actually I put this indoors, but then the old leaves were maturing so quickly and the new leaves were growing so slow that it kind of looked like it was balding at some point. So I had to bring it back out for more sunlight, and now it's looking like it's doing much better than it was, but I don't know. We'll see. I might try to test again if it can live well indoors, like it says so on the internet. This is the wandering Jew. This one propagates like crazy, even faster than the pothos in my opinion. I got this pot from @lamaceta_, I think. Also not so sure if they're still in operation, unfortunately. Now this plant, because of how crazy it propagates, as you can see, is actually teaching me a lot about just letting things be. Going with the flow. Because I used to prune this like crazy. I don't know, it's going so fast that I can't keep up, so I'm just learning to let it be. Next are my snake plants. I have a couple of varieties just because they're so easy to take care of, which makes them really good indoor plants. They also grow really slowly, so they pretty much preserve the way they look from the time that I pot them for quite a long time. Next, we have the ZZ plant or the Zanzibar plant. This is another slow-growing and low-maintenance plant, great for indoors. I copped this one from my dad's collection. Next is one of my favorites. This is the dumb cane, but this is actually a baby one. I love the different variegations on this. And I love how they range from really small baby ones to really big large ones that are great for a very tropical looking shrub. I got the big concrete bullet pot from @modernpots.ph. This one I'm sure is still selling pots now. This spotty unruly one, I'm not really sure if it is a dumb cane, but the internet says so maybe it's right. The next couple of plants are actually from my really good friend Gimme. The next plant is the Pilea depressa or the depressed clearweed. So I actually made a mistake with this one and killed everything else except for this one stem. We'll see if it'll live still. Next we have the tea plant. So a common theme you'll see among all of my plants is that they are actually very far from what they're supposed to look like, and that is because they are just very newly propagated. I only bought one plant so far. This is the pinstripe calathea. I am very aware that this is looking also very sad, very brown and wrinkled, and also like it's closing up, but that is because that is the way calatheas are. So when it's close to the end of the day, it actually seems to close up and then it just opens again in the morning. Since it's also quite easy to propagate, I might just get a few more and stick it in here so it doesn't look so dead once I prune it. However, its new leaf is actually looking quite healthy, so we'll see if I can revive this one or if I have to start new with another baby. Next, we have the silver dollar vine. This one I got from some nuns who were having a hard time taking care of all of their plants. I really like this one because their leaves are actually quite fat, so it kind of resembles a succulent, which makes it really cute. And since it is a vine, I am also training it to vine downwards so that it'll look cute as like a hanging plant or something. Unfortunately, because I did assume that it was like a succulent and would store more water in its leaves for a longer amount of time, I tried experimenting and watering it a bit less and it didn't really like it, so now I'm just watering it as much as I do the other ones. Next are these lace aralias. These ones were also really easy to propagate, so we actually just cut the stems of these and stuck it in soil. And I think within 2 weeks, leaves started sprouting from the top from just twigs in soil. Now, these plants actually make really good shrubs as well, so if you plant a lot of these or propagate a lot of these side by side, you can trim them and they'll start looking like a really nice shrub. This is a boat lily. The internet says that it's supposed to be a flowering plant, and the reason why it's called a boat lily is because the flowers look like lilies in a boat, which is so cute. But currently, I think my boat lily has overgrown its can and is actually starting to grow like a tea plant upwards. So I think I have to fix that soon because I don't know, I don't think this is very good for it, and it's starting to get difficult to take it out of the can the longer that I wait, so have to get to that. This is the Creton break. Not exactly sure how to say that, but I'm just gonna go with it. Usually we don't know the exact names of the plants that we have because A lot of them are just given to us without the names, so yeah. Next is this dragon tree. So actually, you can see that it is growing kind of weird because this was also propagated. So I guess it's trying to push growth in another direction. Anyway, this is also a baby one. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. So this one is my sister's fully grown dragon tree. This is actually the second one because the first one's leaves just all fell off. Once again, you live and you learn. Next is this caricature plant. I really like this one because it's actually pinkish on the inside and the stem is also quite pinkish as well. This one is also still a baby and my sister just propagated it for me. Thanks, Ati! Now, this unruly plant is actually a pink polka dot plant. I have to set this down because there is a spider on the pot and I don't want to disturb it. So it's actually just recently gotten that unruly because I actually forgot to water it for almost a week. And this polka dot plant specifically actually needs a lot more water than the others. And a lot of sunlight too. I'm not exactly sure, but I read on the internet that it also needs constant pruning because it grows so fast. It also has really pretty purple flowers, but I always pick them off because I think that the flowers take all of the nutrition instead of letting the leaves have it. So I always pick them off just to make sure that the leaves look nice and polka dotted. My sister actually also has the white variation. It's also not doing so hot because when you first propagate it, it kind of wilts down a bit until it has its own root system and then it starts living. The problem now is that this one grew so much that I think the nutrients weren't getting to the leaves, so I had to prune it. And then when I pruned it and propagated it again, I think either caterpillars or birds ate the baby leaves, so now it's just a stalk. So we'll see if they'll live or if I have to get some more from my sister's mother plant. Next, we have this black velvet alocasia. This one's name is very apt because its leaves are actually very velvety when you touch it. And the leaves are actually also quite thick. The downside to this plant though is that it somehow is capable of only giving me 2 leaves. So whenever a baby leaf tries to come out, the oldest leaf tends to mature and fall off. It is a really cute plant though, so maybe I would consider putting more than one plant into one pot if you like a more bushy look. This pretty plant is a zebra alocasia. It's also a sister plant of the black velvet alocasia, but this one seems to be better off with the leaves. Like as you can see, it has 3, and previously, as in just yesterday, it actually had 4. But I'd say both are pretty much low maintenance still. Last minute addition to the plant tour, my aunt just gave us a bunch of these succulents. Crossing my fingers, hoping they live! Now I'll start talking about the plants that I am working on or will be working on. This plant is actually really special. It is a rubber plant. So my sister actually has the mother plant and she gave me a cutting of this one. So we're trying to see if it will grow to be a full-grown rubber plant, but full disclosure, there were many previous attempts on this one and none have succeeded so far, so we'll have to see. Next plant that I'm working on are actually bell peppers from seed. My sister and I have been saving bell pepper seeds from the bell peppers that we've been eating, and I tried to sow them into soil. I'm not even sure if I want to show you guys, but a lot of them got eaten by birds, by caterpillars. I don't know how to save them because no matter where I put them, it somehow always just gets eaten. I am going to buy something like a mosquito net cover for food, but I'm going to use it on these seedlings so that all of these creatures can stop eating my bell pepper seedlings. And last but not the least, I am also going to try working on growing some other herbs from seed. Because a really good college friend of mine, shout out to Erin, she actually gave me a whole bunch of seeds for Christmas. So thank you, Erin! Thank you for sticking with me throughout this whole long video. Thank you for bearing with all of the background noise from my bird friends, from my neighbors, from the street. Thank you! I'll see you again next month. Bye!